Oh, what's up, everybody? Oh, turn down the ISO. I look white as a ghost. Everybody, welcome to Garden Sound 365. Again with the burping. Welcome to Garden Sound 365. It's gonna be one of those days. There we go. Hey, everybody, welcome to Garden Sound 365. My name is Garden Sound. This is the show where we write music every day for a year. And today is my final day of news coverage, covering for Philip DeFranco while he's out on a much needed vacation. I've been keeping up with him on Twitter. For those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, you absolutely should. It's at Garden Sound. Yeah, so I've got a question for you today. We're gonna start out today with a question. So a couple of days ago I posted a video about eating dogs, right? Is it okay to eat dogs? And my response to that was basically, why are dogs an exception? I mean, non-domesticated dogs. Why are they an exception to the rule? Why can't we eat, dingoes or wild dogs? Why can't we eat wild dogs? I just realized I left my heater on, so I'm gonna turn that off real quick and get rid of that background noise. Okay, back to the question. So why are dogs the exception? My response was basically, I don't think they are. You know what I'm saying? It's either you eat all the meat or you eat none of the meat. My question today, if you got into a horrible car accident, all right? Hold on, stay with me. If you got into a horrible car accident and they had to amputate your leg. Horrible car accident, they're amputating one of your legs. You're gonna walk around on one leg for the rest of your life. Given the opportunity, would you take, hypothetically here, this is totally, oh my God, I'm gonna get crucified for this. Would you slice off like part of your calf muscle and grill it up and eat it? I'm just curious. Would you eat part of your leg? No longer attached to your body, it's serving nobody. I'm just saying, I want to try it. I just want to try it once. Just one time. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think it's a sin. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm getting red now. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a valid question. So, if you had a leg, would you eat it? That's the question of the day. Let me know your response in the comments section down below. Oh my God. Okay. So yesterday, I recorded a track with my friend Steven. He came over. We recorded some fire. It's good. Like, normally, when I record with people, I'm proud of my work. I'm always proud of my work. I don't ever hand somebody a track that I'm not proud of. But this was exceptional. So I hope you gave me a little bit of grace yesterday for almost forgetting to put the episode up. And I also hope you listened to Savan's lyrics on my track Flow. I'm gonna put up a link to that at the very end of the video instead of normally where it says, click here for yesterday's episode. I'm gonna put his music up again because that needs to be heard. I have someone who's working on a remix of a track that I made in the early days of the show. I don't know if y'all remember this, but I made a track called Don't Tear It Away. And it was kind of an industrial sort of funk. I was going for early Trent Reznor, and I was wearing makeup and stuff. But here's a clip from that.
My soul, I let you terminate my peace. Don't tear it away. Yeah, don't tear it away from me.
Right, so as embarrassing as that look is, the track itself ain't bad. Someone got a hold of that and is doing like a synthwave remix, and it's really good. So I'll be excited to share that with you all once it's done. Let's get into some news. So to all of my Philip DeFranco friends, this is gonna be the last time I cover the news for him. If you did hit that subscribe button and you're sticking around and you wanna hear some more music and you wanna see some more of my face, I don't know why you would. But if you do, thanks. Thanks for being part of the Garden Sound Nation. And yeah, this thing is just what it is for now, and it's going to be continuing until at least August 19th, 2017. That's going to be the 365th episode, and at that point in time, this series will come to a close. And I haven't done a lot of talking about what's coming next, but there will be something coming next. Don't worry. I'm not just going to get to the end of this series and be like, I'm done! Peace! Like, that's not going to happen. Stick around. I just want to keep it a secret. I want to build that intrigue, Alright, so basically I've got 3 news stories to cover and then one lighthearted thing. I'm doing something that I think Phil needs to do. Phil, this is not criticism. I love your show. But if I were running the Philip DeFranco show, what I would do I would have a couple of news stories and then at least one lighthearted news story to kind of bring the mood back up before I send you on about your evening, or evening for me. When I watch Phil's show, it's normally the evening. So 3 stories here. The main story I want to cover today is, and it's going to be divisive, and it's just divisive because of the subject person. So we're talking about Donald Trump. Whether or not you are a supporter of Donald Trump or whether or not you are a hater of Donald Trump, this particular news story should affect you in some way. I personally was not surprised when this information came out, but it looks like his wall is actually not going to be paid for by Mexico. It turns out it's difficult to get a country to pay for something that isn't your country. Not that I'm just completely being a smug asshole right now. Let's wipe the smug asshole off my face. Just a moment. That's better. For this particular story, I'm going to be using some quotes from the Washington Post. I'm not exactly as fancy as Phil is with his big editing staff, because I'm just a one-man show. One man does the editing, one man does everything. I do the whole thing. I don't have the time to cut up the quotes and put them on screen like he does, but I will link to this article in the description down below so you can check me if you'd like. The Trump administration's first budget triggered a swift reaction Thursday morning, with members of Congress, government workers, industry groups, and others protesting the elimination of dozens of federal programs, including funding for specific scientific research, the arts, foreign aid, and programs to help the poor. The budget would deliver an additional $54 billion in defense spending, paid for by dramatic cuts to other discretionary spending. And those cuts include massive funding for decreases for the State Department, the Environmental Protection Agency, the National Endowment for the Arts, etc. People are being critical of this because it's cutting a lot of funding. This particular budget proposal is cutting a lot of funding for publicly funded arts programs and science programs. Full disclosure, as a recording artist, when I'm not doing the news, I'm doing this. When he said that he was going to start cutting funding for the National Endowment for the Arts, I was really sad. People are being critical because this is pulling money away from publicly funded cultural programs like the National Endowment for the Arts. It's also going to cut a lot of money from the National Institute of Health. I mean, things that are good for people. Money's been taken away from those programs and being put into defense spending. The biggest reason for actually being, taking this money and putting it into defense is to build that damn wall. So there are a lot of people who are in favor of the wall, and all the contractors, construction contractors, who will be actually building the wall. Those guys are pretty happy about this because it means more money for them. I'm not going to go down the path of where I am about this, and then here's why. Because I haven't gotten to a point where I can detach my emotions from this situation yet. I'm gonna give you the facts, and in this case, I'm gonna move on. So Italy, crazy place to live, crazy place to visit, awesome music, great wine, great food, very, very animated people. Unfortunately, on Thursday, Italy's Mount Etna decided to be all like, I want to join the party too, and exploded. We got another eruption coming from Mount Etna. This is not the first time Mount Etna has erupted. It has erupted similarly in 2002 and in 1974. However, during those 2 eruptions, people were hurt a lot, injured gravely, some died. This time that was not the case. Guides and safety workers have done their research and determined where the safe zone is in case of an explosion. These tourists were in a zone that was manageable in terms of threat. There were 4 people that were injured and they were hospitalized. However, they were not gravely injured. This is according to ABC News here. I'll link this in the description below as well. So hats off to Italy for keeping people safe around an active volcano. That's a feat. Although I'm sure this was terrifying to witness in person. Blessed by the fact that nobody was killed, and I hope that those who were injured make a full, safe recovery. But can you imagine just being on, just for a second, let's just imagine you're on vacation, right? And you're just like sitting here looking, oh honey, look at all these mountains, it's so pretty. And then all of a sudden one of the mountains just fucking blows up. Our final news story of the day is gonna be our douchebag of the day. So 25-year-old Jose Gonzalez of the Bronx decides that he's gonna just go out and have himself a free ride. So instead of jumping the turnstiles like most New Yorkers, he decided to jump onto the back of an ambulance for a free ride. Got a couple blocks down the road, and then 44-year-old I'm sorry for mispronouncing this name. Yadira Arroyo, Someone alerted her to the fact that there was somebody riding on the back of her ambulance, so she stops the ambulance to get out and see what's going on, and apparently while she was going around the back of the ambulance to say, "Hey, get off my ambulance," asshole, waste of space and lifeless sack of shit, Jose Gonzalez went around to the front of the ambulance, got into the driver's seat and backed up over her, killing her, and then drove forward, hitting her again, and then took off down the street in a stolen ambulance on a joyride. Her partner, who was in the passenger seat, tried to fight the suspect as he was stealing the ambulance, but was unsuccessful. She received minor injuries from fighting with this douchebag, and then jumped out of the ambulance before it took off. Her partner was trying to fix her, being an EMT, and it didn't work, and she died there. I would like us to just take a moment of silence to salute this brave member of our emergency response team, those people that we don't think about until the time, until it's necessary. Being someone who has several personal friends who are EMTs, this story touches me because they're such selfless people. They give their life, they give their well-being, they put all of that at risk. Trying to save people, usually just from their own stupidity. And so yeah, hats off to you, Miss Arroyo, and my deepest regrets and condolences to your family. She leaves behind 2 children, and so let's all bow our heads and have a moment of silence for her. That being said, I hope this waste of space Gonzalez is persecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And I hope he spends a long time in jail thinking about what he's done. The question here is, was it worth it? Was your couple seconds of joyride of stealing an ambulance, and what were you gonna do? Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Was it worth life? Was it worth taking away someone's mom? You know what I'm saying? And what were you going to do with a stolen ambulance? What the fuck were you going to do with a stolen ambulance? Were you going to sell an ambulance on the black market? You can't disguise an ambulance. It's a fucking ambulance. You know what I'm saying? Even if you paint the whole thing a different color, it's still a fucking ambulance. Jared and Cassidy, 2 fellow YouTubers who are daily vloggers, like myself. So I'd like to give a quick shout out to them and their channel, a recent fun video that they made. They handcuffed themselves together for 24 hours to celebrate their 3-year anniversary. I think this is great. I don't know if I would try it with Caroline, although her and I are very comfortable with each other in terms of, like, nudity, going to the bathroom, that sort of thing. Like that, none of that bothers us. And I think they were a little bit weirded out by that here in this video. It's a pretty long video, about 27 minutes. I definitely recommend that you watch it in parts. It's entertaining. I'm going to put a link to that as well in the description down below. One final thing today, before I do the end card, I'll be making a little bit of some just hard trap. I was inspired recently by an artist on SoundCloud named Asadi, and he makes just some extremely hard bass drop trap, and it sounds like this.
Listen.
This is the kind of music that you put on as you're riding up in your car, like slow motion, to just go into a meeting and just wreck shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, before you go into a meeting where you're just about to knock heads together, you should put this on. So I'm gonna write some music like this today, and that's gonna be today's turn up as well. So if you go in the description down below, I always have a track down there that's called Today's Turn Up, or Turn Up of the Day. It's gonna be this track right here. So definitely go check this out, give this artist a little bit of love. Nation, thank you for tuning in and watching me fill in for Phil this week while he's been on vacation. If you'd like to stick around, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I do this every day. I won't be doing the news every day, but I do some form of, hey, how's it going, every day. Usually, sometimes it's a motivational speech, sometimes I'm talking about music, sometimes I've got a cool new toy to show off. So stick around if you'd like to see more of my face and hear more of my music. New beats every day. Speaking of new beats every day, right here, if you click there, you can hear that crazy trap beat that I wrote today that mimics that Asadi song. If you'd like to hear yesterday's song, which features Savan DePaul ripping it up with some bars, right here. If you'd like to subscribe to me, click here. And if you'd like to support me on Patreon, like these lovely people have, at the listener level, click right here. But other than that, my name is Garden Sound, fresh beats every day. I'll see you tomorrow.